One of my favorite cases that Spigen does, whether it's because I'm nostalgic being a child of the 90s or a fan of Apple from that time period, is the Spigen Classic C1. I can't remember the last time they did it. I don't know if it was for the iPhone 8 or whatever it happens to be, but they are back. And you can see the iMac inspired cases for your iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max. Link will be in the description at Amazon. That's definitely where you want to get them. I don't know why they're $65 on the Spigen site, but they're $30 on Amazon. That's where I got them with a discount code that I don't know if it's still out running, but it was Hello Again 20 or something like that. I'll put it in the description. I don't think it's going to be running anymore. That got me 20% off, so I paid $25 a piece for these, and for that, I think it's worth it because I really like the case. Beside the fact that I like the design, but I also like the case itself for my iPhone. So we'll go through the entire thing. 3 colors to choose from. I have 2 of them here. This is the Bondi Blue one, which is, of course, the original iMac, the G3. Then you have the Ruby, which came on the DV versions, I think, which was a little bit later, maybe 2000, 2001. My iMac that's sitting just to my left here, and when we set up the new studio, you'll see that. My iMac is actually the not Sapphire, was Indigo, was the Indigo version of this. Did I like that when they went to these as much? No. You want to know why? Because they went away from the frosted plastic. For these, the rainbow ones, for the grape, for the water, for all the colors that they had the frosted plastic where they went to a clearer plastic with this, but I still love the color anyway. And then there's a gray one that you could buy, which I think was the DV one, which was meant to be the kind of adult one, the business one. That's the one you put on your desk, and it had special capabilities for, I think, sound and graphics, that if you were professional, you got the iMac DV. So let's talk about the case itself. Military drop protection, MagSafe compatible, all that stuff that you'd expect from a case of this price, which is good. Translucent design, but it's not fully translucent. And that's what I like. When I saw this the first time years ago, I was worried because I had the darker iPhone. So if you have a dark iPhone, I know a lot of cases that kind of do this translucent plastic or whatever often look bad on the darker ones. But as you can see, it looks fine because it's not actually translucent. It's translucent down to kind of the inner material. It is a 2-part case. There's the PC and TPU lined with foam and stuff like that, all that stuff for impact protection and absorption, but it gives you that two-toned kind of look because the print itself is on the internal case here, and then you have the translucent red or ruby on the back here. So if you have a darker iPhone, if you weren't able to get the lighter one because the ship time was 9 years from now for the natural titanium and the white titanium, rest assured it'll look good on your, see, I have the blue titanium one and it looks fine. And then you have this little port that is translucent down to the case for the Apple logo. And on the darker ones, yes. Is that a little harder to see? Yes. But in light, you can see it just fine. So you can see you have the MagSafe here. I did mention it is a 2-part case. You take it off in one piece, just kind of bend from here, and it comes off easily, which is nice. But you put it on a little different. So you take this part off, the bottom part off, then you kind of get the flexible TPU part here with the foam in there. Seat your phone, kind of get the lip in there just fine, and then reattach this, and it becomes a little bit more rigid for that extra protection, which is good. So let's talk about that protection and just kind of the overall feel. So it's kind of a soft touch plastic feel to it. So I like that. It's not a harsh plastic. It's not a slippery plastic. Now, it's not a grip magnet either. All right. So because it's rounded here, which might help a lot of people. You might like that because a lot of people said they don't like the squared off feel of a lot of the cases and the squared off nature of the iPhone 15 Pro Max itself. So it's rounded, but keep in mind, even though it's a soft touch plastic and there is some grip there, it still can be a little slippery. You got a little grease on your hands, just a McDonald's, you have the nuggets, it's gonna slide here. So just be aware of that, especially down at the bottom here where there isn't as much soft touch feel. But for the most part, you're gonna have grip, but just pay attention. It is rounded and it can be a little bit slippery. Let's talk buttons. Buttons, no issue. I like them. Are they the clickiest buttons in the world? No, but they're not. They're mushy, but they're not the bad kind of mushy. They're not to the point where it feels like it's solid against the case and you're having a hard time pressing it. I've had no issue pressing these buttons whatsoever, so that's pretty good. But it's not going to be a clicky feel, but it is a positive feel where you know that you've hit the button and it's a relatively enjoyable experience. So don't worry too much about that. Feels solid overall. I'm going to believe the military drop protection, not an issue. You drop the phone in this. I have dropped the phone in this from a height of about 3 feet. Nothing. No problems whatsoever. It hit about here, I believe, on the case. I didn't have an issue, not a scratch, not a dent, nothing wrong with the phone itself. I know people have been talking about bruises on the titanium when you just drop the phone even in a case. I pulled this off, and I didn't have any impact spots or any bruising on the frame of my titanium on the iPhone 15. So, would I pay $65 for this? No. Would I pay $25 for this? Yes. I'd pay, well, I mean, this is me. I'd pay $25 for it for the nostalgia alone. However, I understand you might not want to do that. That's fine. You want a protective case in addition to a case that's going to look good. And Spigen's got you covered there. You know, Spigen makes quality stuff. It's not like they make garbage stuff normally. They just kind of release something like this. You got the raised lip around the camera hump there for the protection if you put it down face first like that, or on the back. So you're going to have no issue scuffing up your camera. A little bit of a lip around the iPhone Pro Max itself. Little bit. I have a screen protector on here, so it kind of is odd to the eye there, but there is a little bit of a raised lip around it, so if you put it face down, your glass is not pressing against the surface. Overall, it's a win for me. A little bit biased. It was going to be a win anyway, just because of the look of them. I've been waiting for them to come back out with something like this. I saw these cases for the smaller iPhones from years ago, and I always wanted to pick one up. Now that they had one, absolutely had to do it. But you're getting a decent protection for a decent look, especially if you're a nostalgic child of the late 80s and 90s, like I am, and that first iMac G3 was a revelation. So you get to walk around with that Bondi blue and the ruby as well. I think it's a good change of pace there on the two. But this is definitely, if you're going to ask me, the phone that's going to get the most wear on my iPhone 15 Pro Max over the course of a year. This guy right here. If you've made it this far, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Until next time, have that seamless day.